Aloha and welcome to Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson, coming to you from the beautiful Hawaiian beaches on the big island of Hawaii. Thank you so much for joining. I love you. And I have Gail on with me. She has some stuff to
I
ask
have
about.
some stuff. So
Hooray.
this is interesting to me. Now, there's a lot of conversation. It appears as though there are certain words coming more into the mainstream that I think are beautiful, and yet not sure if it's necessary. So here's what I mean. Words
Okay.
like DNA activation, cellular clearing, genome carbon-based upgrades, remembering ancient codes and unlocking wisdom from lifetimes, Lemuria, all these types of things, activations from Isis, Sophia, the feminine Christ consciousness.
Uh-huh.
All these words are in the vernacular even more so these days than I've ever seen. And are they even, I don't know if the word is necessary, but it seems as though your perspective or the one I share with you even is that all of these things are kind of just for fun, yet they seem to have some validity. There's more of a movement, if you will, towards feminine Christ consciousness, and whether or not it's feminine or masculine doesn't really matter to me, although it seems to be that there's a tipping point more towards a feminine vibe these days, and that's said to be more healing for the planet. That being said,
Yeah.
just curious about your point of view.
Okay, so when you say it's in the vernacular and stuff like that, it's there's not really the existence of those words. They're just make believe. They're made in your mind, you could say. And there's no these days, like there's no days. It's just that it's coming into your field of experience.
Mm,
I can say that a lot of those words that you said I never heard before. You know. They're
yes.
coming into your field of experience, and anything that comes into your field of experience is for the exact same thing. It's for healing. So what's happening, and I've experienced this in my own consciousness too, is you'll start to see things that kind of like irk you, almost like that's not the right way, that's not the right path, it's off or whatever, and that's just a distraction. All that is a distraction. So like if it takes your attention looking at those things, then you start seeing them more. So it's like it gets a reaction out of you, it gets a feeling reaction out of you, and then a projection. So it's like not noticing the feeling reaction and going toward the projection instead, as if that is actually happening, because it's not happening except in your imagination.
Okay, yes. I get that. Thank you.
That's what makes it fun,
To
because
know
then
what's
you can get the
showing up.
feeling of it and not condemn or
Mhm.
not think that anyone's going the wrong way, because there isn't anyone but you.
Yes.
So
I,
it's like this. That kind of covers up the the ego's idea that you're not going the right way. You don't have it quite right. You're just a little bit off. See? And it projects it like that so that you don't have to feel the effects of the belief that you're fucking it up. You don't have to feel the effect of that. You could put it out there to not feel it, and that's basically what's going on.
Hmm. Well,
Same
if I
thing.
may back up just for a moment, because I
Okay.
actually don't have this experience of condemnation, like what they're doing is wrong, or that because I'm not aligned with it or not engaged with it, doesn't, I don't feel any wrongness around it. I just
Okay.
have curiosity actually about these things that seem to be popping up into the field of consciousness overall, because I
Uh-huh.
never had seen this come into my line of sight more than now. It's
Uh-huh.
been around before because I really appreciate cosmic stuff, and and
Right.
ancient wisdom. And so now it just happens to be more consistent and regular. And I wouldn't say it's a bandwagon that people are on. It feels as though people are popping into these awakened states and through various means. Yet I think the means might just be the fun part, right? Not the scary part. That's
Well,
right.
for sure, and it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. And if you're seeing it a lot of times, if you're seeing it a lot of times and it seems like it's in the consciousness, it's just for you to see.
Hmm.
For whatever feeling that brings for you, for whatever that is. So it's not like it's really happening. It's not like it's really happening in the collective consciousness. Like like it seems as if to people that, wow, the world is really waking up, or wow, the world is really going deeper into delusion, but it's all self projection. It's all a self projection.
Yeah.
And so it's like if you're seeing something repeatedly that doesn't really resonate with you, you're seeing something repeatedly that doesn't really resonate for you, there is something there for you.
It does resonate, however.
Okay.
I'm really enjoying it that I'm seeing more of this. Yet, I think where I'm going with the question line of questioning is this one piece I'm really interested in hearing your point of view is that it's happening more often. I find it very compelling. I feel as though I've had access to this kind of knowledge, if you will, for quite some time, a great chunk of my adult life, in fact. And
Yeah.
yet it feels as though is that stuff, these are just kind of tools ultimately, right? Because in the whole realm of what we're exploring in these types of conversations, etc., those elements are really just ideas and tools, practices, fun things to do, not necessarily, or to explore, but not necessarily going to lead to our ultimate enlightenment, if you will, because they seem to be acknowledging that these are ways in order to really come into a fuller, more enlightened state. In order to, I would think,
Sure.
usher in new Christ consciousness, the more
Well,
that are on board with
yeah.
that.
Uh-huh. You could say that everything is then. Everything is leading to that. Any kind of experience. It's not like one is better than the other. If you
Mhm.
but you can see that people use these kinds of concepts to feel good.
Mhm.
And that's awesome. You know? It feels good. It's a comfortable way of being. It's more comfort. It's instead of beating yourself up. Now, of course, there's some delusion involved with it because, you know, there's no such thing as DNA. I heard you say DNA activation. There's no such thing as DNA. But, it's whatever the mind can accept right now without fear.
Mhm.
And that's what's gonna work. But here's the thing, Gail, there's not a collective consciousness like that. It's just all you're in your own imagination. So these may be things, these different words that you're seeing over and over and over again. These may be things that you have heard before and now are making it seem as if everyone's picking up on these things. It's always for you. So always bring it back to that it is for you. It is for you.
In this
And
case, for what?
what's that?
In this case, for what real reason? I know it doesn't need to be a reason, but I really feel it's coming here for me, but there's no particular thing that it's inciting in me.
Yeah, there's no need to analyze it or anything, and there's no need to put any particular focus on it either.
uh,
See, so when you pay attention to it, it grows in your experience.
uh-huh.
You
Yep.
know, you know that, you
Yeah.
know that. So there is some kind of interest that's drawing your attention, that's drawing your focus toward it. I cannot tell you what it is though, because I don't know.
It's
There's
all
nothing making you, yeah, there's some kind of draw toward it. And I can say that any kind of draw toward materiality, like to focus on something and say and keep on focusing on it and focusing on it, it's a distraction. See? So it's a distraction. It keeps things seeming like there is an outer world, like there's this collective consciousness that that there are other people. There are other people doing these things when there's not other people like that. Not even getting in on these spiritual concepts. There's not even other people getting in on these spiritual concepts. It's just reflecting. It's always reflecting something. And if it's growing in your experience, it's not something that needs to be particularly honed in on.
Mm. It's just a recognition.
Yeah, it's just a recognition, exactly.
A flash across the screen of my mind.
Yeah, it's like exactly. It's just like with litter. I'm sure you've noticed, like you see some litter, and if you're noticing the litter, then it comes some more. And see, like kind of like this, you notice someone, and it seems like it's outside of you, like someone else is painting that picture, not you.
Mhm.
Then it appears more and more and more like that, more and more real, more and more realistic. And if it's something like, say, it's a tool that you've already put down, say you already put down, but you see it a lot in your experience, it's trying to convince you. It's trying to convince you that that's really going on.
And I recognize I'm using some of it as a whipping tool. I just see that now, just like
Good.
why didn't I wake up to that? What kind of thought? So there's a little bit of angst in there. I just recognize. So that's good. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you can sense that. That's the first thing, you know. You could when you have a question about something, you don't really need to ask me the question. You know, once you're tuned into this, don't really need to ask the question when you know that, okay, this is repeating over and over and over again. How am I using this to kick my ass?
Yep. Yep. Yeah. That's all I need to do, if you will. That's
Hooray!
a peaceful way of going about things.
Hooray! And you wrote me another question, so let's go to that one since you're with
Yeah,
me.
I was just going to
Okay,
ask you.
you asked me something and it was very interesting.
It's
You,
on your page.
it's on my page. I have a couple places on my page to go. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to open
It's
another one.
um,
I'm going to open another page.
it's about the boundaries, and I that
The
I have.
boundaries. You were on that one? I didn't even see you there.
Is that the one I wrote on?
No, you didn't. You didn't. But you can ask that if it's on you. It's on your heart right now. Go ahead.
Oh, great, because yeah, I do see my question is under somewhere.
Yeah, it's under whatever you take as true is where you are in the mind and where others will come to find you.
Yeah, that, two things about boundaries and yeah. Oh, right. That's what you said. Whatever you take as true is where you are in the mind and where others will come to find you. And yes, you
Mm-hmm.
can see that my thought was, how are they finding us when really they're part of our creation, our hologram, right?
Okay, so look at it like this. Number one, the words are not that literal. And number two, everyone finds what they're looking for.
Hmm.
See? Everyone is finding in the mind that which they're looking for. How you find them is totally up to what you're seeking. See?
Well, that's the beacon you talked about,
So
right?
here's a scenario. Here's a scenario about how that looks, okay?
Yeah.
Say that you feel insignificant, okay? That's how you take yourself, insignificant. Okay? So, those who are seeking to find insignificance will find you. And they'll reflect to you that insignificance for you. So when you recognize that they're finding you where you have placed yourself in the mind, you can play with that. It's like, oh, and look what my friend here said. She kind of nailed it right here. She said, oops, I didn't mean to go to him. Okay. Oh, that's good. Back to my page. All right. No. Okay. More comments. They not only find you, they reaffirm your thoughts on what you think is true. Ouch.
Oh, yeah, ouch, baby.
Yeah. So they're basically reaffirming for you what you hold out to be true. That's more the meaning of it than to try to analyze the, you're talking about the law of attraction and stuff like that. Yeah, that's okay, law of attraction in quantum physics. Sure, that's quantum physics is also in the mind, and it's a good symbol. It's a good symbol. And when you come to it as a reality for you, then all of the different concepts point to it, even if the concepts contradict each other.
Yeah, there's something they're all pointing to. Each concept has something there for me.
Yeah, and it's all it's all you. They find you where you place yourself in the mind because they are you. Yeah, that's why Jesus said, those who have eyes to see, see. He had a particular message of freedom, and not everyone was looking for that. So, when some people see or perceive that much freedom, they run away. And that's okay. That's their trajectory for that moment, because that's what's going toward the lessons that they are seeking.
Beautiful. It's again the identification with the concepts.
Yay.
And yet some of these people in these explorations about the activations, etc., seem to be or appear to be, as we know, really kicking it, having a blast and finding the value and reflecting in their lives and through their actions and etc. This sort of thing that people want to say, I want some of that, because it looks as though it's really working, if you will.
And you've already experienced those things. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's just interesting that these people who are, let's say, saying, let's activate the Lemurian in you, the person who's introducing that kind of body of work appears to really be having a blast doing that and believing in it and showing it, reflecting in her life that she's thriving through these sorts of activations. And I find that very curious. It's an appearance, I understand.
Yeah. It's a reflection of something that you know well.
Yeah.
You know this well. Having an experience of projecting that concepts are making you whole. Yeah.
I love that.
And having people believe in that.
Yes.
So this is an experience that's why, see how it's always a self-reflection. Yeah. You know that one really well.
I do. I had a love affair with her.
Like, wow, she's really, oh my gosh, can I just be like her? And then you're like, fuck, I'm over here dying.
Oh, that has been such a fun one for me. I whip it out of my back pocket, right? Like a
Yeah.
go-to.
Yeah, that's so fun. So,
Like,
that's the promise of the ego too, is that you can use concepts to make yourself whole in a world of illusion.
I love that.
Within a world of illusion, you can
Mm,
get other people's praise within
mm,
a world of illusion, and then that makes you feel whole for temporary only. For
mhm,
temporary only. It's a making an illusion of wholeness. And other people's belief, the perception of other people's beliefs really props it up nice and big. It really sets you up for a huge fall, as you know.
uh-huh. Yeah. Ouch. Talk about ouch.
All for entertainment. All for entertainment. And you discover from that, you know, it's valuable. It's valuable because you discover from that in that fall that this world is meaningless. Maybe not necessarily the first time. OSHA, I'm having an online thing, buddy. Thanks. Cute little dude.
Alicia,
Super excited. So what you're seeing is a reflection of this setup that you've already experienced. You've already experienced this setup. You know what it is.
mhm.
Yeah. And you can't say what it is for, another person that you perceive, because really the other person that you perceive, they never even left wholeness. They're just reflecting for you. They're just like a spark reflecting for you. Now, if they came to you asking, sure, you'd have something to share. You have experience.
Mhm. I don't want to share concepts though.
Well, here's how it is. Here's how it is. You can't share concepts. It's impossible.
Because I'm not a person.
Isn't that fun? Because, well, you know, concepts, it's not something that can be shared. It's not, and everyone has a different interpretation of whatever's coming out of your mouth, anyways. Whatever's being transferred is energy. It's all energy. It's not the concepts. The concepts are just there for part of the play. They're there to give the mind something that it can accept. So you're never sharing any concepts. You're offering gifts. You're offering gifts of energy, you could say. So if you find yourself pressured by the role of teacher, then the energy that you're trying to gift is pressure.
Hmm. It's the energy of the experience, not the person.
Exactly. Because you're only sharing with yourself. You're only sharing with yourself, and it's all energy. So no matter, and that's the thing, you don't have to try to decide or choose what's going to come out of your mouth. All you have to do, all your function is, so to speak, is to choose between truth and illusion in every moment. And as the truth is chosen, the energy gift that you have to share is love. So it doesn't really matter what concepts are spoken in that.
Gotcha.
See? Isn't that fun? So you don't have to know what you're going to say. You don't have to know the right concepts. You don't have to know how to not share concepts. You don't have to be involved with any of that, because it comes down to one simple thing, and that's truth over illusion. And what does that really mean? Well, the concept is crossing the ticker tape. I don't want to share concepts. Well, there's a concept. Look right through it. That's all. I don't want to share concepts is pressure on the body's energy field when it's believed, when it's identified with it and taken as if it's meaningful. It makes pressure on the body's energy field, and that becomes your energy gift until you choose otherwise.
The greater the pressure, the greater the release.
Yay! and no need to keep adding pressure to yourself. As soon as you're conscious that the track you're following, the thought trajectory you're following is leading into delusion, you can just stop believing that.
Mm-hmm.
You just stop believing in that. Just this instant. You have a choice there. You always have a choice.
The holy instant.
Yes.
As A Course in Miracles would say.
Yes. And what occurs and what you can sense viscerally is that your body's energy field, it develops a certain lightness of being, and you become so sensitive to any kind of heaviness from thought that you don't need to pursue it. You don't find a need to pursue it.
Definitely not an interest.
Yes. Here's a for instance, this occurred to me today. Well, it seemed like I was walking through Home Depot. All of a sudden the thought occurred to me, wow, that guy stole from me. But that thought occurred to me. And then suddenly, it's like, oh, of course that cannot be true. That cannot be true. And it's just noticing that nothing happened. Nothing happened. And this isn't a cover up, you guys. It's not like covering it up, because it has to be sincere. Is noticing that nothing happened. There's pressure on the body's energy field, and all of a sudden it's released. And the spring all of a sudden returns to my step. Now this happens in a split second for me. A
nanosecond for you.
Yeah, it's like a sense of, oh, and then, oh, wait a minute. Nothing occurred. Nothing actually occurred. Nothing really happened. This is occurring to me in this instant. This is occurring to me in this instant, but there's no past. Nothing happened. It's not possible for anyone to steal from me, because there isn't anyone but me. And if I focus on it, not only will it bring about more instances of the same kind of energy, but it's condemnation, it's self-condemnation. It's holding myself out in the form of another person as if I've attacked myself. Mm-hmm. So then right now, there's a sense of a lack of freedom. There's a sense of a lack of freedom. And what the ego says, well, if you just let that go, doesn't it just leave you open to get more and more of the same? No, not at all. Not at all. Because remember, energy, whatever energetically is being projected, and look, in the dream, it's just projections. It's all projections in the dream. And it's all in a projection of energy. Whatever kind of energy is being projected is what's being felt by everyone. Everyone. And they're drawn toward that. They're drawn into that energy. They're drawn right into it. So it doesn't, it's the most protected you can possibly be is to feel who you are within the illusion. The most protected you can possibly be. So it's more like an, oh, thank goodness that's not true, because there's pressure, and then there's a release of pressure. The thought that it might be true, or that it is true, holy shit, that's what the perception is.
That's the pressure.
That's the pressure. So, for people who it's not so easy, it's not so quick like that. It's not like, oh, the recognition, an immediate recognition. One thing that's really helpful is gratitude. Gratitude. Not to the other person, because there's not another person. To yourself for having made that experience for yourself to get that feeling so that you could see through it. So that you could see what you've been taking as true. That's what the whole feeling is for. Now, in my experience, all of these perceptions and all of these feelings, they're not necessary except to get the experience for sharing. Just for sharing. They're not even necessary. There's no need just to see what it is that humans go through. Because for me, there's no association with human. It's not like I need to heal something. It's just to get the experience, what it's like. For love, for sharing, for having the experience.
And for the joy of discovering the true nature.
Yeah.
Not only discovering, but actually having more, what would you call it, access, or just the recognition that so consumed the mind from its habituation, meaning consumed, meaning it's just covered it in love and applied this, the need for the mind to generate so much stuff has slowed, and for you it's near gone.
Yeah. So when something like that comes up in on the ticker tape on the screen, it's just for getting that sensation again, just for fun. It's not like it's a feeling like I need to heal something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, show it to me, as there's this experience of the body, as the body is being used sort of like the food for consciousness, as there's this experience of a body, show it to me. Show me the delusion of being human so that I could just look right through it. Thank you. So there's gratitude for you, not for another person, as in, oh, thank you for stealing from me. Because it didn't actually happen. It actually didn't happen. It's occurring to you. So it's gratitude to yourself for making this illusion. It takes a lot of creativity. It takes a lot of power and creativity to make an appearance that there's someone who is capable of stealing from you, because it's so far removed from the truth. And it's just so that you could see what you've been stealing from yourself. It's always a self-reflection. It's just so that you could see what kind of power you've been taking away from yourself and putting it into illusions. See?
So it's not a healing of the mind, it's more of coming into the right relationship with the mind.
The mind doesn't need to be healed. And there's a lot of confusion about what the mind is too. I see that, There's a confusion about the mind, as if the mind needs to be eliminated. The mind itself needs to be eliminated. And
No.
that may be associated with ego, the mind is pure and innocent. Now, mind is also just a word, so it could mean a lot of things. So let's say what it is. Okay, the mind is basically, you could say, creator. You could say, let's just call it creator. Okay, creator. And what you experience as yourself is creation. That's also in the mind. It's also in the mind. Creation. Creation is an extension of creator. an extension of creator. It's no different. It's no different from creator. And it has authority from creator as creator itself to create like the creator. An illusion, an illusory world where things are born to die and people are born to die and all that kind of stuff, is not of the creator. It's self-projection. It's self-projection. You do not have authority to make anything, to create anything out of self-projection. Therefore, it doesn't exist. You don't have authority because you don't even give yourself that authority. It's not like you. It's not like you. You're eternal. You have the will to create that which is like you. And you do all the time. It's called the real world. And it's stored there for you. Can you say it's heavenly treasure stored there for you? When that's more desirable to you than illusions. Mm. And the only thing that makes illusions more desirable is fear. Mm. It's just fear that there's nothing else but illusion. Like there's nothing else but illusion. Like this illusory world. This is all there is. Well, better make the most of it. Better try to, I don't know, whatever it is, make myself into something. Have a legacy maybe, or make a lot of money, or make myself really comfortable while I'm here before it gets really uncomfortable, and then I die. And so see, and it's guilt, it's guilty feeling that set up the fear. It's guilty feeling that set up the fear. It's feeling unworthy of the real world. It's feeling unworthy of the real world that put the veil down that makes it seem that nothing exists but illusion. So I want to keep the illusion going. That's the mantra of the ego. I need to keep this illusion going. And how do we keep the illusion going? Basically, unkindness to yourself. Accepting that what seems to have happened, what wrong seems to have been done really happened, and you didn't just make that up. You didn't just make that up, but you made it up for a purpose. For a purpose. And, often you hear me say, just for fun, just for fun. And that's because you are the fun. You are the fun in that. In seeing through it, all of a sudden, your joy is revealed. You are revealed. Who you really are is revealed. It's claiming who you really are in the midst of illusion. And that is so fun.
So the excitement is in the recognition. The fun part is hanging out with who you really are.
It just comes to the surface. That becomes the expression.
Yeah.
That becomes your expression.
Which is the beautiful thing.
Yes. Yes. Everything is for expression.
Lightness of being versus density. Yeah. We'll see what I'm most interested in moment to moment. When Jesus said, "Let devil get thee behind me."
Yes.
Are those thoughts?
Yep. Get thee behind me, Satan. I rebuke you.
And let there be light. That's the light of your awakened state, your awareness.
What's that?
Let there be light. Could that be thought of as your awakened state?
Sure. It could be a symbol of anything you choose.
Symbols.
Yes.
I forgot.
Yes.
Symbols.
It's all symbolic. It's all symbolic. So the symbolism means different things at different points. Mm-hmm. I was raised a Christian missionary, and the way the things were interpreted as a child are very different than they are now.
Mhm.
They're still the same symbol. But my mind is interpreting them differently. At
Yeah.
that point, as a child, the trajectory was to build up the ego. And that's the trajectory that I've seen of every child I've seen.
Hmm.
every child I've ever experienced, you know, is a building their ego. It looks to me like it's a building up of the ego, only to break it down again. Phase one and phase two. Phase one, build it up. Phase two, break it down. Yeah, and for many, phase one is the only phase of that lifetime, and that's okay too.
Mm.
There could be lifetime after lifetime after lifetime of only phase one, building it up. And then there's a certain pivotal point where it becomes phase two, breaking it down. The ones who are building it up, this is how it plays out in my experience. The ones that are building it up, they can't see me.
Mm.
They cannot
Yes.
see me. They're building it up right now. Or I might look threatening. That's way too much freedom.
Or crazy.
Okay, sure. But either way, it's threatening.
It's threatening, of course.
See, it's threatening. It's as if this could cause a lot of trouble. This could really mess things up. This could make people run around and just kill each other because nothing matters.
Oh my God, I get it. Symbols, guideposts, clues in the game and hologram.
Yes, in the game, exactly. It's just a game. And it's a functional game, because without the game of manifestation, of physical manifestation, there'd be no way out.
Right.
There would be no way out of this guilty idea that you separated yourself. And that's what you know in the death realm. In the death realm,
Mhm.
it's false knowledge, of course, but in the death realm, all that you know is this nagging, guilty feeling. There's not all the pressure of the body. The body pressure, the appearance of a body as a perceiving organism makes a lot of pressure. So there's a huge release. There's a huge release in the death realm. I'm calling it the death realm. It's not the real name. It doesn't have a name really. Um, Huge release in that state. But at the same time, if it hasn't been seen through to completion, to the completion of who you are, you're going to be back, so to speak. You're going to project the body and world again to complete the release. And when the release is complete, it's straight to eternity from manifest world. It doesn't go manifest world, death realm, eternity. Death realm is just like a holding place, a place of release before manifest world occurs to you again. Occurs to you. It's not real. It doesn't happen. It occurs to you again for denying what you made to be real. What you made to be real, as in you can be modified. The belief that you can be modified from your original state as perfection. The belief that you separated yourself, the belief that you did in fact modify yourself and separate yourself from the creator. See? In the death realm, you don't know this to be untrue still. You don't know this to be untrue. So you project a world. The pain of guilt causes the projection of the world. It's for you. The projection of consciousness, even, who loves you. You are the beloved of consciousness. Your wish is consciousness command. Whatever you seek, you're going to find in consciousness. Because you don't love yourself. You don't love yourself. You manifest consciousness who loves you unconditionally. Again and again.
Again and again.
It's from the manifest world. It's from the manifest world. And only from the manifest world. In the illusion of time. That time gets canceled altogether. The need for time gets canceled altogether. But it's a complete waste of time. It's a complete waste of time to try to make yourself something in time.
So the best use of time is in the playing in the hologram and utilizing it for the recognition.
Use everything for that.
Everything.
It becomes an energetic experience. You become super sensitive. Be open to that. You know, I have conversations with people all the time. In fact, just yesterday I was having a conversation with someone, and then he was expressing some scenario, and I said, okay, that scenario is for you. And he goes, what do you mean? And I said, well, when you talk about it, it's obvious to me that you're holding something about it. You're using it to attack yourself. And he said, oh, I don't feel that at all. And I go, well, maybe it's a good idea to go look in the mirror when you're feeling this same way, because your whole face just changed and the way you're holding your body just changed and everything just changed. You know? And if you didn't perceive that, then maybe you would like to perceive that. Maybe not. Maybe not. But that's really what perception is for. You know, for me, the first thing that got my attention for seeing, you know, how am I taking things? How am I taking these things? I was led to read an FBI book for training FBI agents for what these body signals mean. Not to try to read other people like the FBI, but to see what my body signals are pointing to.
Mm.
See? And for the most part, there's a huge barrier against that. Well, I don't feel like that. Well, it's the defensiveness is right there. It's right there on the surface. You know, I can perceive that. I could tell you what I perceive. And, you know, if you don't want to know about it, that's okay. That's okay with me. You know, it's all the same. It's all the same. If you're going to make it as if those kids are separate from you. And in that way, by making them separate and doing something that, you know, makes you go, and then they like that. You do see what I mean? If you're going to do that, that's okay with me. I understand the purpose of that. The purpose of that is to lessen the intensity of feeling for you.
Mm-hmm.
They are there so that within their body, your perception of their body, you can bury the feeling and not feel the intensity for yourself. It's going to express through you instead. It's going to express through you in your facial expressions. It's going to express through you in the way you hold your body. You know, I notice some different things too, like the neck coming forward like this. See? When talking and feeling a certain way, the neck comes forward like this. And this is not to try to control how you hold your body, but watch what happens when you notice. Watch what happens when you notice. When the mind comes into alignment, so does the body. It's a reflection. You could say it's a projection the total projection of the mind. The body isn't one bit real. It's just there to project what the mind holds to be true. So the
So
body.
someone who's hunched over and looks depleted is likely thinking a lot of shit, is what you're
Well,
saying.
and here's the thing: it don't make it about other people unless, unless, and it's not even like this, but when someone's coming to you and asking you, or they're coming to wisdom dialogues. For me, they're in wisdom dialogues. Like normally, if I'm just on the street, I don't know it. I know if they're coming to me for that. I know if they're meeting me for that because it's just an energy. I know if that's what they're meeting me for. You know, it's just an energy. Okay, so it'll just be spoken. Whatever it is, it'll just be spoken. But I don't make it my trajectory to look at other people and try to find out what's going on with them.
No, I don't mean like an analysis, but you can probably suspect maybe or have a sense that if they're in that hunched over, depleted looking state, there's probably a lot of belief of really disempowering thoughts.
Well, here's what it is. The body's form follows belief. So the hunching over is a manifestation of continual belief over and over again. The form starts to change. We were having this discussion yesterday in the in-person wisdom dialogues about how your whole physiology is affected by how you take things.
Mm.
So if there's not holding on to anger, for one, all of a sudden there's a nourishment that's allowed within your body's energy field, which projects the cells and the DNA and all of that kind of stuff. So it affects what you perceive as your nervous system and your immune system and your vitality and all of those kinds of things, your energy. So, for me, and, I appreciate this so much. And it reminds me of the part in the Bible where it says, thy rod and thy staff, they strengthen me. When I start to think with the ego, if I start to think with the ego, very quickly I feel physically ill. Physically ill. And that's wonderful because that sense of physical illness is an obvious symbol that I've been thinking with the ego.
Yeah.
And then I'm ready and then I'm ready for the correction. I'm ready for the correction. And that's exactly what illness could be used for. That's exactly what, its purpose is in the eyes of the Holy Spirit, in the eyes of who you are, you could say. You could say the Holy Spirit is what guides you in the dream. It's your guidance. It's your own guidance. You set the Holy Spirit up within consciousness to lead you. To lead you to the right thinking. The only error you can make is error in thinking, and that error is correctable in an instant. Isn't that wonderful? You don't have to suffer for it. You don't have to have karma for it. Unless you want to, unless you take that as something, oh no, I made an error in thinking. Now I have to play this out, whatever it is. But the error can be corrected immediately.
And it's sin. Sin. You've sinned. You've done wrong. And I discovered that sin in Latin means miss the mark.
Yeah, it doesn't mean what we think it means, or let's say what we've conditioned ourselves to believe it means. And we've only conditioned ourselves to believe it means something as if we've done something irreparably wrong. We've only conditioned ourselves to believe that because even in the death realm, that's the feeling we have. That's the feeling there is. It's that we've done something irreparably wrong. It's a mental pain. It's an existential pain which causes the whole world to manifest. Irreparable wrong. And so for a lot of people, that's a projection outward, as if the people who have killed have done something irreparably wrong. Then that's a projection. That they've done something irreparably wrong, and so they cannot be worthy of eternal life. And as long as anyone is held out like that, as in outside of your own mind, not your own projection, not a symbol of who you are, anyone's held out there like that, as if they're unworthy, you cannot find yourself in the kingdom of heaven, because that's a symbol of your own unworthiness. It's like it makes you too large to enter. Too dense to enter. So
large and in charge.
Large and in charge. Large and in charge of making this world real.
Or allowing the Holy Spirit to be large and in charge.
Exactly. That's it. That's it. Because that's what you set up as your guidance. So that's why your feelings, you've heard it called the thread of bliss. The thread of bliss. To me, that's synonymous with the Holy Spirit. You know, all these are symbols. It's not a religious thing. It's not a religious thing. Some symbols are easier for a certain mindset to find freedom.
Yes.
It makes it easier for a certain mindset to find freedom. The word Holy Spirit may not resonate. Then thread of bliss, how about that? Maybe that resonates, you know. And that's it. That's held on. That's held for you. That thread of bliss is held for you in the midst of anything else. It's right there alongside of it. It's right there alongside of the thread of suffering, you could say. It's all it is two different thought systems set up in the mind, set up in consciousness. A thought system of disease, a thought system of guilt and disease, and then the thought system of bliss right alongside each other. And you always have a choice between the two. In every instant, there's a choice between the two until there's no choice, because you just know who you are. And you know who you are, there's no choice to even be made. You just stay there with the thread of bliss. And if you find yourself varying off of the thread of bliss, that's a symbol that you've been following erroneous thoughts. It's an invitation to return back. It's an invitation to repent. Repent is basically to give up, to surrender what you held dear. Maybe it's a thought of someone close to you isn't conscious enough. Someone close to you isn't conscious enough for you, maybe. Not conscious enough. That causes a dilemma. That causes a dilemma for you. Repent. There's no one there. There's no one there but yourself. And you know, the instant you follow that thought down, that thought gains interest for you, you take it to be true, that person is going to reflect not conscious enough. They're going to do things that prove that you were correct. That's how it goes. Because they're not really there. They're just you.
Well, you want to know how you reflect, what you reflect to me, Hope Weiler Johnson? Miss Person, that's your person. Here's what I envision, just in a brief. It takes one brief moment to illustrate this. Is okay. That when you're standing in your hologram, I see a thought arise in your field, and you literally take your finger. It's your index finger that I see, and you take it and this you one? Touch. Yeah, that beautiful one. I love that finger. And it's like you touch. Let me see you do it. You're like touch the screen kind of thing. You touch it, and boom! It's like the thought ripples away. It's like you touch it with a dash of light, and it just ripples.
It's just like it's like delete.
Yeah. But you just take your little lightness, the light beam that comes out of your little fingertip, and ripples off into nothingness. that gently
Yeah.
and sweetly and quickly, in just a desire to, well, there's no interest in the entertainment of it, just to touch it, and it goes.
Yes, exactly,
Uh,
exactly. And thank you for seeing that, because you seeing that, that's you.
yes.
See, that's you. There's no me like that as Hope Johnson. There's no me like that as Hope Johnson, but you being able to see that in the reflection,
Makes
it
it available.
shows you. Yeah, it shows you who you are and what you're capable of. See,
Mahalo.
mahalo to you. I love you.
I love you.
Yay. I'll leave you on. If you like, I can leave your mic open. You can mute yourself if you want. If anyone else would like to raise their hand, go ahead. I'm going to go on to this one where someone was asking about death, and it kind of got convoluted. I said, okay, so let's go to wisdom dialogues with this one. Let me see where it is here. Oh, I opened it in another tab. Wow, that's fun. Yeah.
Woo!
Okay. Okay, so let's see. Let's get some background here. All right, here's the post. After the body dies, you are instantly reestablished in the awareness that death is impossible. But at that point, there's no time within which to destroy the illusion of separation and death. We've been talking about this. How fun. As such, you will take on another body with an apparent death sentence again and again until you finally choose truth despite appearances. So here's where Goddessa asked me a question. How do you know if we go to a new body right away? What if we can choose to float around in that dimension for as long as we want? So then I responded with, time is an illusion. It's only for a body. It's only for a body. In the death realm, there's no time. There's no body and no time there. But there's thought projection. There's thought projection. It's a projection of yourself, which gives rise to emotional pain. We just talked about this. The choice to take on a body in time is for undoing that thought projection. And then also, nothing floats around. That's imagination. That's a manifestation. Nothing floats around. There's no need to float. Okay? Your mind doesn't float around in bliss when you die. Okay, so yeah, there is a Christian belief right there, a misguided Christian belief. Like you float around in bliss when you die. Eh? There's no death. There's no death. In fact, it could be said that you're more dead as a physical manifestation than you are in the death realm. Because you know yourself better in the death realm, actually. if we're slight if we're slighter when our if we're lighter is what she means. If we're lighter when we're lighter when our body, then why wouldn't we want to stay like that forever? So we talked about that, the emotional pain. It's the emotional pain. And that's where I said, all right, looks like this will be for wisdom dialogues, next wisdom dialogues. It looks like it's all been addressed. Look at that. Without even going to it. But there it is. There's the whole thing. So Goddessa, are you on today? No, you're not. That's for you. That was that whole hour was all for that. And other people who wanted to know about that, that's what I'm talking about. And here's another really interesting thing. See, the reason these kinds of questions arise, don't we want to stay there? Don't we want to stay there? Okay, for the ego knows all about, the ego knows all about the death realm. Ego knows all about the death realm. There's still ego in the death realm. There's still ego in the death realm. For the ego, that is your release, and that is the whole purpose of life, to get back to there. It's like this is the purgatory, and you want to get back over there to the death realm. So you could say unconsciously, even though it's not unconscious, unconsciously, you want to get back to the death realm. There's a death wish. There's an unconscious death wish, you could say. Remember, all of this is pointing. It's not something to make and hold for yourself. All of this is pointing. There is a death wish. You'll see it. It's awesome. You'll see the death wish, and it's awesome because once you see it, it has no power over you anymore. Okay, the death wish basically keeps you distracted from your the assignment that you gave to yourself, your assigned function in making a manifestation, in making a manifest world. The drive toward the death wish keeps you distracted. It's like it's a split though. It's a split mind. Fear of death plus a death wish. The fear of death may be more prominent than the death wish at some point, or the death wish may be more prominent than the fear of death, but they're both illusions that the ego sets forth, and there's believing in both of them at the same time that causes a split. Both of them vanish. Both of these beliefs vanish when the death wish is seen. For me, it was seen just like this. I'm walking down the hallway, seemingly minding my own business, and all of a sudden, the thought, I hate my life, I want to die, occurs to me. And it's like, whoa, who said that? Who said that? And the feeling that comes along with it, the guilty feeling that comes along with it. I want to die, and also I want to kill. Because to the ego, that's release. To the ego, that's release. You can see how a murderer, to their mind, may be doing something very loving. Because to the ego, that's the best. That's release. So that's the best, to kill the body. And here, let me tell you this. This is what's really awesome too. The body that you perceive doesn't necessarily have to be perceived as dying. Doesn't necessarily, you do not have to necessarily have to have a death experience. Just because you see it all around and it seems like a fact of life does not mean it has to be the experience. It's been demonstrated before. You know, you could see them in the stories. There's stories. These are pointers. Every story shows a possibility. One possibility is that the body just turns to light. If there's a story about it, there's a pointing about it, there's a symbol, it's a possibility. But immediately the ego comes up and oh no, death is the only way out. Death is the only way out. Well, death is the only way back to the death realm, yes. That's the only way back to the death realm. That's why I'm calling it the death realm, because it's the only way back over there. Over there. There's no other real place. It's just that not perceiving a body, not perceiving a body. Perceiving a body, perceiving a death experience, perceiving no body. That's all. The death realm. It's not necessary to revisit the death realm. It's not necessary to perceive a body that dies. It's not necessary. That doesn't mean you try to avoid it. You don't have to try to avoid it, because it all comes down to this moment. There's so many things that are a warm-up for death. A warm-up for it, basically bringing it on. And it's all identification. All has to do with identification with thought. Identify with the body. One of them is identifying with the body as needing to detoxify. That's a fun one. Okay, this thing can accumulate toxins. This projection of my mind can accumulate toxins that then need to go through some kind of sickness and pain and suffering before I can be released. Do you see how that's similar to death? Pain and suffering, and then release. You did not get real release through pain and suffering. You don't need to get real release through pain and suffering. That's not your completion. That's not your completion. It keeps the ego game alive that pain and suffering lead to salvation. They don't. They just lead to more pain and suffering unless unless the pain and suffering is used for what it's meant to be used for. Okay? Gail, I'm muting you because you're loud. Raise your hand again if you want to come back on. All right. So we addressed that. Okay. And then now this is fun. Anastasia, you're not here today. And this is for you. I saved this for later to see if you came on. This is a fun one. Okay. Where's the question thought? Okay. I notice I get more attuned on two subjects you touch on. One is tensions in the body and the body being made of thought. That's dope. But I want to ask more about the second one, which is Jesus and maybe the relationships of those two subjects. I never really thought about Jesus much, and I'm not very familiar with the Bible. But a couple of years ago, I was in a very introverted state, and I had a thought that different people serve different powers. Then I asked, what power do I serve? And immediately I was in the love of Jesus. But it didn't have a form or anything. But somehow I knew very clearly that it was a love of Jesus. It looked like a moonlight. And then the second time, I felt it coming from you when I was in Wisdom Dialogues in person. What is it? Is it part of hallucination? Yes, it is. The feeling I've got was to touch your feet. Kind of radical for me. From one side, I see it as not real. From another, it feels so deep, uncorrupted. So the question is it that in order to access the depth, love needs to be associated with a form in consciousness, be personified? Is it like this for you? What kind of body is projected from the thought system of the Holy Spirit? Is it like the light body of Christ, in which he appeared to the ones who could see? Okay, so what is it? Is it a hallucination? Yes, it's all a hallucination. It's all symbolic. So what you see as being outside of you, as something, as being outside of you, as something where you'd like to touch the feet and everything like that. That's wonderful. Congratulations. Congratulations. I found myself wishing for someone like that when I thought I was separate. I found myself wishing for someone, anyone. Where's my master? Where's my master? Where's my master? To jump to the last one, it never came for me. No, it never came for me. At the same time, it's awesome. It's awesome to have that kind of hallucination because basically it's a symbol of who you are. It's a symbol of who you are. And it gives you kind of an easy way. It gives you an easy route. That's an easy route to be able to perceive something that holy, to have that perception of something like that it seems to still be outside of yourself. The world still seems to be outside of yourself. So what a great comfort. What a gift. And you can thank yourself for that. You can thank yourself for that gift. Of course, as you know, I could tell by how you write this and your energy, you don't believe that I'm outside of you. You don't believe that I'm outside of you. If you get the feeling to touch my feet and that's inspiring for you, go ahead. It doesn't hurt anything. It doesn't hurt anything. That's symbolic. That's symbolic of honoring who you are. It's honoring who you are. That's why so many people will touch Jesus' feet in the story. Not that anything ever happened. Not that anything ever happened. Even the story is occurring to you right now if you're hearing this. If you seem to be hearing this. Okay? I see it as not real. From another, it feels so deep. It feels so deep because it's symbolic of. This symbolism is symbolic of something. It's pointing to something very deep. It's pointing to who you are. You're stoked. What a gift. What a gift. Just don't use that gift to harm yourself. As in, I'm not there yet. I don't see that coming from you at all, actually. I don't see that coming from you at all. All I see is a little bit of confusion, like, okay, what do I do with this? What do I do with this? It feels so deep, uncorrupted. Yes, because you are uncorrupted. And that's a symbol of the fact that you are uncorrupted. It's symbolic. Is that in order to access the depth, love? Okay, in order for you, and that's why it's there. It wasn't in order for me in my experience. There wasn't that. There was asking for it. But apparently it was not something that was necessary. Love needs to be associated with a form in consciousness. It just depends. It just depends. It's unique. It's a unique, the experience of what I'm calling phase 2, the breaking down of the ego, the breaking it down. The experience of that is totally individualized. Totally individualized. Not that there's an individual, but there is an individualized conceptual conditioning. What kind of body is projected from the thought system of the Holy Spirit? Well, basically, the Holy Spirit isn't projecting any kind of body. The Holy Spirit is helping you to break down the projection of bodies until all you can perceive as is light. Light. You can't perceive a body with a barrier that seems like it's dense. It'll be impossible to perceive that. Is it like the light body of Christ unless it, yes, he appears to the ones who could see. Yes, the ones who have eyes to see can see, that's right. And it will be obscured in a body for those who do not have eyes to see. And here's what I notice in my own field of experience, okay? Field of experience. The ones who don't have eyes to see are not within my field of experience except for a short stint, short in the illusion of time, just to get the experience of them, just to have the experience of them, and they're gone. In one way or another, they're gone. I may have the experience of boundaries moving through me to say, no, thank you. I won't be having any more of that. No, thank you. Or it might just be a reflection of, oh my goodness, that I don't want anything to do with that, and running away. That's wonderful too. I had one experience where I was hanging out with my daughter at Disney in the smoking section, and we're over in the smoking section sharing a smoke, and someone comes up and starts talking about our addictions. And it just arose right from me, right from the depths of me. We have no addictions. We have no addictions. None of us do. That's just a tool of the ego to perpetuate guilt. And all of a sudden it was, well, I'm in AA. And I'm not kidding you, that guy did not finish his smoke. He ran away. Okay, he walked away fast, but the energy was running away. Not even stopping to need to argue with it, except for a split second, and then running away. I mean, if he would have stayed for a moment longer, he may have heard, oh, never mind. That didn't have any meaning. Because it's not necessary to change anyone's mind. There isn't anyone like that. Isn't anyone who's made any kind of error. There isn't anyone who made any kind of error. The error is just it's a hallucination. The error is a hallucination. So there isn't any need to change anyone. And that's what's really different from any trajectory of the ego that wants to help. There's a need to change the ones who seem like they're screwing it up, who seem like they're the ones who are causing the violence in the world. They're the ones who are causing the confusion. And there's no confusion to be had without an interest in confused thought. There's just no confusion without an interest. And there's no form of judgment that could leave enough space in your heart to express the love that you are. The love that you are can't fully be expressed in the world as long as there's any judgment held. Okay. So it seems to me that everything has been answered. Let's see if anything popped up while I've been talking here. Oh. Okay, let's look at boundaries for a moment. That's something that came up today. Boundaries are a gift of consciousness. They get expressed clearly and effectively when you feel worthy of that expression. It's all a feeling. It's all a feeling of worthiness or unworthiness. See? Consciousness, like I said before, loves you. Loves you. It's set up to unconditionally love you. That means whatever you're seeking, you find in consciousness. If peace, harmony, bliss, connection is what you're seeking, if that's what you're seeking, then you feel worthy of it. You're seeking it because you feel worthy of it. And consciousness allows that for you. Whatever allows more of that is what consciousness gives, to you. Maybe as an expression, maybe without an expression. But where there's feeling unworthy, there's all kinds of reasons. It may be obligation. It may be that you're just too accepting. You're so righteously accepting that you cannot have boundaries in this dream. So righteously accepting of everything that you cannot have any boundaries in the dream. Now, for reals, you are not capable of having boundaries. This is a play. It's a play. It plays according to how worthy you think you are. Are you worthy of peace? Are you worthy of peace? If you're worthy of peace, then you could say no thank you to anything you like. You know? I was sharing yesterday, I don't mind what people think. I don't mind what people think of their perception of me as an individual. That's why I have no problem shutting it down when I'm perceiving an attack, when I'm perceiving attack thoughts. No, thank you. There's no need for that. You know why? Because there's no difference between a perceived person talking attack thoughts and attack thoughts crossing my mind without a body. Okay? What the ego props up there is a body. Okay? First it's seen, oh, my thoughts have no authority. Oh, awesome. Oh, your thoughts have no authority, huh? What about this person over here? Do they have authority? Can they tell you who you are? Will you accept that? And one way of accepting it is arguing with it. Another way of accepting is permitting it to transpire. There's a difference between permissiveness and acceptance. There's a big difference. Because acceptance is acceptance of every expression, including whatever expression comes through you for the betterment, for healing. It's all for that, unless you say it's not. Unless you say it's not. Sometimes there's a misinterpretation. Okay, it's all for healing. That means I have to keep on permitting this because it's for healing. Never the case. Never, never, never the case. Okay? To give an example, here's an example. I told Gail, keep her mic open. Yeah? Then she starts doing something in the background that's making some kind of noise. Apparently. Of course, Gail isn't doing anything. But just for fun, just for pointers. There's a bunch of noise going on all of a sudden. I don't know what's going on. Maybe she's like eating or something. Maybe she's opening something. I don't know. But it's like, okay, your mic's going off because it's loud. That's just one example. That's just one example. It's that simple, though. It's that simple. Whatever's easeful. Easeful. But the ego sets it up like there's this fear of setting a boundary for how you might be seen, for how you might be perceived. And I can't even express how much I loved having that perception. Loved it. Loved it. To witness my own mind in the form of other people telling me that I can't have that boundary because it means I'm not accepting. Really now? That's a great argument. Thank you. Thank you. No, thank you. See? So let there be light. Let there be light in your expression. Lightness. Lightness. What will you do? There's no formula. There's no formula for what you will do. What you do is always going to come out of what you take yourself to be and what you take the world to mean. You don't have a choice in it. You have no choice. That's why trying to micromanage your projection into the world will always backfire. It'll always fail. Trying to make your projection into something so your self-image is held up in a certain way. And what does it mean your self-image is held up in a certain way? If your self-image is held up in a certain way, what you are looking for is other people who don't exist, other people's interpretation of who you are. How spiritual other people take you to be. Who gives a shit? That's your own mind. That's like saying, I want my thoughts to see me as spiritual. I want my thoughts to see me as accepting. I want my thoughts to see me as godly. So I'm going to permit this in order to get that reaction from them. In order to get that perception from them. It's like pandering. It's like pandering to the ego. See, one friend of mine, maybe more than one, tries so hard to act accepting. Tries so hard to act accepting. Oh, My dear, I see what you're going through, and I know, and this and that. At the same time, the person that they're perceiving, basically their own thought, are launching attacks. You cannot appease this thing. You cannot appease the attacks. There's no appeasing for it. If it's real, you know by the reaction. If this what this compassion, if the compassion is true compassion, then you know by the reaction, you know by their reaction that it was. You see more attack. It's just like casting your pearls before swine, like Jesus would say. They'll turn and trample you. It's good experience. It's all really good experience. It's all useful experience. How long in the illusion of time will it be used for experience? Until you decide to use it for healing. Till you decide to use it for something else. Not to use it for experience anymore, but to use it for healing. Healing what? Healing the perception. Not to get a better perception. Not to get a better perception. Healing the perception reveals who you are. It's calm. It's peaceful. It's quiet. It's not arguing. Did I do the right thing? Am I going to do the right thing? Am I doing the right thing right now? It's just quiet. Healing the perception. It allows more of who you are to shine through and also to be expressed. Anyone who arises within your field of experience is bearing gifts from you to you. Gifts of energy. Thank you, no thank you. Thank you, no thank you. Oh yes, thank you. Oh, no thank you. But in order to no thank you, for reals with gratitude, you got to get the feeling. You got to get the feeling. So whatever energy gift they would like to bestow upon you, in order to know what the energy gift is, you've got to get the feeling. That's why it's no thank you with gratitude, because you already know what it is. You got the feeling. Whatever energy it is, sometimes the energy can come in the form of something nice, but it's packaged nice. It's packaged really nice and sweet. They package it nice, but you can sense the energy of it. And it's like, oh, no, thank you. I was at a retreat one time. It was really fun. We were, as part of the retreat, it was a healing retreat. It was where we did art, and it was painting art and then singing and dancing. And as part of it, we were all marching around in a circle, practicing saying no. Practicing saying no. And as I was joining in on this game of practicing saying no, I felt so good about it. It was like, no, no, no. And as I looked around, everyone in the group was reflecting, no, no, no. And that's such a lovely reflection of how the ego wants you to say no, as if you're wrong. A boundary doesn't mean that anyone's wrong. There's not anyone there. The perception of them was just an opportunity to see if you felt worthy enough to express that boundary, just for fun, to see if you felt worthy enough to express it. You don't have to be angry. In fact, a boundary that comes out of anger doesn't even work. You'll find it being crossed. Doesn't even work. You don't have to be angry for that. Get the feeling. Get the feeling of what it is first that you're saying no to. Know what it is that you're saying no to. And you could say no in complete joy. You know, lately I've had experience deleting some friends on Facebook, especially when the lava came. Oh my goodness. This experience of the lava, and whoa, that's way too much freedom. Getting the reflection that you're not caring, you're so uncaring. It's like, oh, thank you. Thank you. Because that's my own mind. That's my own mind. Oh no, Hope, you cannot have that much freedom. No freaking way. You have to suffer over this. Come on. Come on. This is lava. This is lava. You got to suffer over this one. And you have to make our suffering real. You have to make it real in your own mind. It can't just be real for us. You have to agree. You have to agree that it's real. Because if you're not suffering, then you're unfeeling and uncaring. You're masking. Oh, thank you. Get the feeling. Get the feeling of it. And then you know what you're saying no thank you to. I could see what people were going to say to me before they said it. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. I was having one communication and I said no thank you. I have no need for that. And the response was, you think you don't have a need, but all you're doing is keeping your ideas away from any ideas that don't resonate with it. So you're just keeping your own ideas away from any ideas that don't resonate with it. Yes. Thank you. No, thank you. Thank you and no, thank you. There's no need for me to sit and listen to how the ego sees me. There's no need for me to sit and listen to how the ego sees me. And that's why consciousness can express boundaries through me. Because in thought, even without the appearance of a body reflecting thought, in thought, there's no need for me to listen to how the ego perceives me. For instance, did you do that right? Here's a fun example. This has occurred to me yesterday. I went into my bedroom to go on my computer, it seemed, to do something for Miracle Botanicals. Make a change to an employee record, seemingly. Once I got to the computer, there were notifications waiting for me. Some people had made comments, so I looked at the notifications, and immediately I was inspired to respond. Oh, what a lovely way to express. What a fun and beautiful way to express myself. Thank you. After the fact, I find myself getting up from my chair, almost out the door, and then it occurred to me that the reason I came in there was to do something for my business. And there was noticing that it was time to get in the car and go to Wisdom Dialogues in person. In other words, there was an appearance that there was not enough time to do that, which I seemingly came in there to do. And immediately there's a recognition of, oh, no, of course. Whatever I came in there to do, is what got done. Nothing else. And nothing happened. It's all occurring to me. See? So I don't have to even analyze. I don't have to engage that thought. I don't have to follow it down a normal trajectory about how I'm going to be more focused. See? I just don't have to listen to the ego. I don't have to listen to it in a thought form, and I don't have to listen to it in thought. You can call it a boundary. That's just a word. It doesn't mean anything. But that's what people are really looking for when they're talking about boundaries. They're looking for peace and freedom. And that's where the peace and freedom is. Don't accept any thought that talks to you as if you're something that you're not. Don't accept it as true. Don't follow it. Don't argue with it. Don't follow it. It's just, oh, thank goodness that's not true. That would be a pain in the ass if I had to be more focused on worldly things. Come on now. What is time for, if not to see through the illusion of time? Any energy of focus, in order to not waste time, would be most suitably used for focusing on seeing what makes you into something you're not. Not for getting better focus, for making more illusion. The illusion is completely taking care of itself. Completely taking care of itself. That other thing got done automatically. That other thing that needed to get done, apparently it needed to get done because it got done. If it didn't need to get done. But apparently it got done automatically. I didn't have to set myself a reminder. I didn't have to try to remember. When the time is now for that accomplishment, apparent accomplishment to take place, it'll be. It's just how it goes. And even that is an opportunity to use it for seeing through the illusion that you can accomplish anything. Anything accomplished in the illusion is passing. It's totally meaningless. You're reaffirmed in that if there's a death experience for you in this lifetime, a big if there's a death experience in this lifetime, that's reaffirmed for you. If there's not a death experience in this lifetime, it's completely meaningless. You don't need to be reestablished in anything. It's completely forgotten. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anyways, but once there's a death experience, there's a review of it and a reestablishment of your mind in the truth that it never happened. See? Only for your awareness of what you choosing to be made manifest in a body again, to have that wiped away from your memory. And you don't know that. Maybe, few I've heard say no. I've heard. They already know. So hooray, everyone. I'm sensing that I'm complete with this wisdom dialogue session, unless anyone else would like to raise their hand if they have something for me. I'm stoked. Oh, thank you too, Lori. I love you. I love you. Your blend just crossed my mind. Yes, it's coming. In the illusion of time, it's not so quick as we probably anticipated. It's coming. I love you. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you. This is sponsored by Miracle Botanicals, and a beautiful essential oil line where we care about quality because we love you. Mahalo, Constance. We care about quality because we love you. We love you because you are who we are. And we hear from a lot of people about the potency of our essential oils. And it's not only that we source the best essential oils we can find in the world, in the apparent world, but it's because of love that they come to us. They show up to us. They show up for us. Recently, we have a cannabis essential oil, cannabis sativa essential oil. Doesn't have any THC or CBD in it. It has some different chemicals. They're called myrcene and B-caryophyllene. They're known to be really, really awesome. Yay. I'm amazed by you too, Yulia. Thank you. All thanks to you. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate all of that. So myrcene and B-caryophyllene, these are the chemicals that appear to be responsible, and this is all magic. It's all magic in a dream. Appear to be responsible for anti-inflammatory qualities, anti-inflammatory and pain relief. So some people are just taking a drop by mouth. It tastes intense. I'll tell you that's an intense aroma. This is like cannabis multiplied. It's a very intense aroma. And what I was sharing with cannabis sativa, there's also another strain of cannabis called cannabis indica, in case you're unaware of that. Cannabis indica just came to me, and it's beautiful, beautiful. It has the combination of the two chemicals, if you're into this, the two chemicals, myrcene and B-caryophyllene, and frankincense, Gail. That's right, frankincense, frankincense and cannabis together. We call it dankincense. Oh, it is beautiful. This new cannabis indica that came to me, it just, someone in Canada decided they have been buying our cannabis sativa, and he decided he was on a mission to find where these two chemicals, the myrcene and B-caryophyllene, have an equal ratio, 1-to-1. 1-to-1. It's not CBD oil, Yulia. It's not CBD oil. CBD is another compound. What I'm finding is it's not necessary for it to be CBD oil. That it's very light. CBD oil is heavy. It's a heavy oil. This is very light. It's like an astringent oil. It's clear. It smells to me like a cannabis plant in the garden, which we had cannabis plants in the garden over at Fairyland. So I had the occasion to inhale their beautiful aroma time after time. It smells like a fresh cannabis plant, but the aroma is multiplied by about 100 times. So it's really intense. And so this myrcene and B-caryophyllene, these chemicals at a 1-to-1 ratio, it's rare. It's a rare occurrence. And this man who's a customer of ours found it in Canada, and he decided to make a whole company about it and export them to the United States, and just happened to go, hey, you know what? I bet Miracle Botanicals wants this. And I have the sample, and oh, heck yeah, it's beautiful. And essential oils come to us. What are the two chemicals again? Myrcene, myrcene, and B, that's usually comes with a lowercase b, and then a hyphen, caryophyllene, caryophyllene. I may have the spelling a little bit off, but if you put that into Google, you're going to find it, okay? So in this one, this is the indica. Yeah, we don't even have it yet, Gail. We don't even have it yet. But we probably will have it soon. The essential oils that come to us are super special like that. They don't necessarily come to us like that, but we know when we meet them that they're for us. Kind of like this necklace that I'm wearing. If you can see me, today. This necklace that I'm wearing right now. When I saw it, I knew it was for me. Same way with essential oils. It's like I just saw it, and I knew it was for me. I didn't need to ask what the price was or anything. I just knew it was for me, and it was for sale. Yeah, it's abalone. Abalone with some sparklies on it. And immediately it was like, oh, that's mine. Here's my credit card. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Gail. I know, I feel that. It's so interesting. I put it on and it's like, woo, okay, okay. And the same with the essential oils that come to us and are sold through Miracle Botanicals. It's like, obviously, that's for us. And that's for us. That's for the people who are finding us in the mind. That's for those who are finding us in the mind. And that's what they're looking for. Throat chakra on acid. Interesting. Thank you, Gail. That's lovely. I've been hearing about acid lately. It's so funny. I go, ooh, I don't know. I'm not sure if I've ever taken acid before because there was at one point when I was maybe 18 years old, I went to a rave, and I don't actually think it was acid. I seem to remember it being mushrooms. So it's funny because I've heard acid a couple times. One time in on my post, and then you're saying that now, and it's funny. I've just never had the I guess oh, hey, Hope, you want some acid? And it resonating for me. So who knows? It's definitely fun to see. Everyone, there's good quality on island. You're interested. Okay, wonderful. I was never drawn to it because it seems so scary. Yet now, who knows? Yeah, I see that too. Scary, yes, scary. What if I ruin my brain, kind of thing? Yeah, kind of like that. Of course, I don't think that I need any acid. This hallucination is good. This hallucination is plenty. It's enough. It's enough. And if consciousness leads toward that, there's going to be no argument from me too. See? That's how it is with everything. That's how it is with everything. Whatever it happens to be. I mean, look, if you look at the Bhagavad Gita, what was consciousness leading Arjuna to do? Murder all of his family. Murder all of his family. See? As showing you that there's no difference in illusions. There's no difference in illusion. Some of you might think, oh, now she's condoning murder. No, that's not the truth. That's not the truth. It's that there's no such thing as it. And you don't know what consciousness will have you do, what the expression will be. You don't know. And you cannot control it. You cannot control it. So let it be. Let it be. You're free, totally free. Totally free. Let the expression just be love, whatever it happens to be. And it's for the expression to be love, all it means is there's no judgment. All that means is there's no judgment. There's no judgment on what you might do, what you are doing, what you could be doing, okay? All right, let's wrap it up. So Wisdom Dialogues comes online Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Hawaii time. The link is going to be changing. The link is going to be changing because now there seems to be a very fast internet connection, and there's this thing called Webinar Jam, and I hired them to get it set up and get it set up properly so that we can be on Webinar Jam. So the link will be changing. There, you'll be able to see me, and I will be able to see you. And if you like, you don't have to. You can not be seen too. But if you'd like to be seen, you can be seen too, and you'll be on the video that comes through. So that'll be fun. That'll be a fun exploration for us. Yay. If you'd like to see the videos, go to wisdomdialogues.org, and you'll, for now, see the whole selection of, I don't know, maybe like 80 some videos on there. You can go from the beginning to the end and see what happens. It's pretty fun. And then there's SoundCloud and iTunes. Those haven't been updated lately. That's kind of in the works. So that's older stuff at the moment, but it will be updated. So if you look for Wisdom Dialogues on SoundCloud and iTunes, there's going to be some stuff there for you to download too. That's about it. If you'd like to join me live, go on Facebook and join the group. Facebook.com/groups/Wisdom Dialogues. If you don't want to be on Facebook, but you want to be added, just send me an email, hope@miraclebotanicals.com. If you feel like you'd like to donate to me, same email address, hope@miraclebotanicals.com. That's PayPal. You use PayPal. That's another thing. And yay, yay. I don't do it for donations, but I've heard from people, how can I contribute? So that's an easy way right there. And just put in the notes wisdom dialogues, and I'll know. And it'll be put to good use. Hooray. I love you. Thank you so much for joining. And may your day, concept of a day, be used for healing the perception and revealing who you are. I love you so much. Aloha and a hui ho!